welcome back, guys, to the AFU Friday show. Got a few familiar faces on the panel with me tonight. I'm in a unfamiliar place as I'm recovering from a knee op. So I'm in my kitchen, so it's not the usual nice and smooth lighting as Neil likes to see me in. So we're going to have a good 45 minutes if we can today to talk about United season, potential season predictions. I'm sure most of you have seen the tweets that have gone out in terms of what we're going to be talking about. So, like I say, I've got some able-bodied people here to give me an hand with talking about United and their predictions. So, Stu, first off, how are you doing, mate? It's nice to see your face. Been a week or so.
Yeah, I know. Well, you say able-bodied, but I mean, I'm not so sure about that, dude. I've been playing football all my life, so I'm definitely not able-bodied. I'm all right, actually, this week. I've had a nice week of relaxation with the family being up north, and that'll all change. Carnage will be resumed tomorrow evening. So, apart from that, all good. I hope your knee's all right, pal.
Yeah, it's getting there, mate. It's just uncomfortable sitting in this position, but it's we're getting there. It's not been too bad, actually. The pain's good. It's just pulling on the hamstrings and stuff. So it's
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
Anyway, less of that. Hammer, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. Relaxing today. Got a day off, and this weekend off actually. So.
Oh, good. And Neil, it's been a while, mate. Obviously, we've been keeping in contact over WhatsApp, and it's always lovely to have you on the show, mate, as always. But nice to have you back. How you been doing, considering?
Well, in one word, I've been doing shit, but I like this show. But my knees are probably better than Rebecca Vardy's, who she's probably down on hers tonight, begging for £2.5 million off her old man. But there you go. So I'm hoping your knees are better than Rebecca's, my friend. It's great to be back. I love AFU. I'm a big fan. Anyway, by the way, before we carry on, if she's listening, shout out to my new good friend Gaynor.
Brilliant. Hello, Gaynor, from Neil and the rest of the team. Let's get straight into it, guys. Then, so obviously, fairly decent pre-season, I think. Good pre-season. Some introduction of some newish players. Obviously, we've still got to see Martinez yet and Ericsson, but generally a good pre-season. A few familiar faces coming back. Martial obviously doing pretty well, so some positives in there. Some not so positives in the Ronaldo saga, but I think we're all kind of moved and the ship sailed on that one anyway. But what does this mean for next season? Stu, I'll start with you in terms of what is a good season. I know we all kind of were chatting about it before the show, and we were all sort of saying what we thought was a good season, but outside the box things as well. What is for you a good season for United next year or this season?
For me, it's got to be putting a win of consecutive runs together. We haven't done that, and I'm talking 9 or 10 consecutive wins. We haven't done that for such a long time, 2 or 3 seasons. Even when Ollie, was caretaker manager, we went 14. We were unbeaten. I'm talking about consecutive wins now. I mean, what that does, then that gives you the catapult, doesn't it, to shape your season? And we need to start that relatively quickly. You're going to have a bit of an up. You'll have a downturn. The problem is you need to have gathered points before you have your downturn. Because, if you have your downturn early on in the season, you're playing catch-up. And you can't afford to play catch-up when you've got Liverpool and City doing what they've done the last couple of seasons, irrespective of where the rest of the leagues are, or the teams in the league. I don't really look at other clubs. I don't really buy into Tottenham, with all their signings. Conte's a good manager. We all know this. But you've got to keep your powder dry. And that's what we have to do. And I know everybody's got their own opinions of what constitutes a good season for me. If we can get a good run going of 10 wins, consecutive wins, it will take us somewhere to where we want to be. It won't carry us there. It'll just take us somewhere.
And do you think he can do that with the current squad that he's got, Stu, or is it?
You can do it with any squad of players. Really, you really can. It's how you get the best out of them, how you motivate them. The determination that any player should show should carry you over that line. I think last season, to be honest, Reece, and we've all said it, they couldn't be bothered. Let's be brutal. It's quite a brutal assessment, but they couldn't be bothered, the players. I think you've got a bit of a taskmaster now that won't allow that to happen. If you are playing at 70%, you're off. The end. I need you at 100%, constantly. I'll be also looking for players who are having a bit of a bad spell during a game to play themselves back into the match. We've spoken about this before. So you can do it. You can do it with a good group of honest professionals and honest players that really have got that's such a will to win, that it absolutely destroys your insides if you lose. And sometimes if you win, you're pissed off when you come off the pitch because you could have done better. And that's what I'll be looking to see. So I want to see a consecutive group of wins of games, and just to see us perform, better than what we did last season.
Yeah, I sort of agree with that. I mean, I think that's kind of step one, isn't it? Getting some level of consistency, and I think equally getting back to a feeling that Old Trafford's a bit more of a fortress as well. Whether we get a run of games, we had a good, obviously, run of away games with Ollie before he'd obviously departed and stuff, and obviously we'd love to see the home form improve a little bit as well. I think that comes with consistency. If you get your home form, you usually base your season on your away form, don't you? Off the back of your own form. If you're winning your own games, you can win more away games.
Yeah, absolutely. You never looked at the away games. You look to pick up points at the away games. You look to win your home games, because that sets you up. You're absolutely right, Rich. And funnily enough, we're winning our away games and not our home games. It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, when you think about it, absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy, wasn't it? And we'll come to you, mate. Kind of obviously, like I said before, we spoke about it a little bit in the pre-show, kind of in terms of what we thought was going to constitute a good season for United. But let's go into that a little bit deeper. What do you think is a good season for Man United next season, being sort of relatively realistic? What's your thoughts on that, mate?
Well, a good season, like I know Neil was talking about, like, how I was saying some stuff that maybe you can't reach as of yet, but that was me saying like that would be a really good season. So a good season would kind of also be going off what Stu said. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I feel like if the things are done right and the players are implementing what Ten Hag wants and everything, I feel like this season we should do very well against that middle of the table to bottom half of the table and start really picking up those points there. And then it comes into, can we either get a win or just pick up some points against the bigger teams and stuff like that. So I think that's where we might do really well this season, hopefully, if the players are really getting into it. And also for some reason, just because I know it's preseason and stuff, but like it seems like we're struggling to keep a clean sheet. I don't know if it's just because we don't have the back four fully figured out yet, and we just bought Martinez, so that might take even longer. But that's why I said I feel like with the smaller teams, the style and the energy and the attack that Ten Hag wants to play with, we'll be able to outscore them, right? Both, obviously we're not going to outscore, the Liverpools, the Cities, the Chelseas, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my good season. If things are just going smoothly and stuff like that, we pick up points where we're supposed to, and we end up in a point of the table that we can take advantage of when it comes to the end of the season.
Yeah, managed to get you there, Hammer. I think it's just a little bit in and out with some of your audio there, mate. But we've got a little bit. Just coming to Neil on that. Neil, what's kind of your thoughts on a good season? I know you're always somebody who's really realistic and more practical in terms of the ambitions of the club. But like, kind of, what are your feelings for next season? Obviously, we've had a good pre-season. There is a good squad in there, isn't there? A good squad of good young players and some talent. So, what are we expecting for next season for a good season?
Well, I'm sort of following on, and it's weird. It's like sometimes it's like Stuart and I are separated at birth. I'm not wishing to cast aspersions on our parents, by the way, but we're of the same generation. I mean, Stuart's what, 8, 9, 10 years older than me.
Yeah,
only joking, Stuart. I know I'm the oldest one. Only joking, my friend. But my point is, I think we need to be realistic. We're allowed to swear. We're after the watershed. So we've had a bit of a shit show since Alex has left. Sir Alex, sorry. And we have had. And I think we're gonna have to go through a period where we might have to put up with a bit of pain, because, and Stuart will back me up. Stuart, I think all of you know that I was Poch in.
Oh, big time.
But I've been really impressed. I've been really, really impressed with Ten Hag and the way he's took over. And he has that certain something about him that you just think, well, we need to trust this manager. And he's going to have to rip this apart to get this club, mould this club where he wants the club to be. Now, I've heard a lot of stuff, and in the last few days, about he's signing players from different leagues. He's from a different league as well, by the way. So we have to let's give him some rope. And, and let's trust. It sounds like a load of cliches, but we must trust the process that he's going to put in place. So if he feels a player is right for the team, you get an incredibly toxic fan base. And all four of us, with all due respect, we've all been part of that. Because at some point we've all thought negative, or we've all thought crazy stuff about this club. And we've all been part of that. But I think this season, my expectations of this season, and I don't know if I'm pretty certain I did this show when I was asked this question before about what did I want to see from the next season, from the next manager. And I think I might have done one of these shows with Stuart. But I just wanted to see some passion in the shirt. Because for too many years, and this makes me sound like such an old bastard, but for too many years, there hasn't been passion. We've had in the last 2 years, we've had 2 interim managers, and that has got us nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. I don't care if, the Solskjaer thing was a bad decision in the first place. It was good interim, but he should never have been the manager. Rangnick was a disaster. And the further you get away from Rangnick, the worse it actually looks. And the further you get away from Solskjaer, the worse it actually looks. The more we get involved with Ten Hag, the better he looks. And it's sort of quite weird. It's sort of creeping up on you. So my expectations of this year are a bit of passion in the shirt and a bit of pride, because I think that's been sadly lacking. And a bit of a reason for the fans to go to the game and, instead of protesting, get behind the team. And the off the field stuff, if any one of us sat here could influence the off the field stuff, we'd be doing it. And we would. So let's get behind the team. And if he gets top 4, fantastic. I don't believe that. I think that's a stretch. But that would be amazing if he gets top 4. But my expectations for this season are passion and pride. And that's it. Everything else after that, I'm not setting the bar massively high for this guy, because I think Ten Hag is mid to long term. I don't, because he could have sat and waited for some of the best jobs in Europe to come along and stayed at one of the best organised clubs in Europe. But he gave all that up to come to our club, and let's be thankful that he's done it. And let's not chase the guy out the door if he loses 6 out of the first 10 games, which is possible. I'm just saying everything's on the table with this bloke. But I trust this guy. I like the signings he's made. I think the Christian Eriksen signing is a spectacular signing. And I think he could be the perfect catalyst to get this team moving forward for the next 3 years. And I'm not comparing him with the likes of Sheringham, but he could be in that mould in terms of that type. Stuart knows what I mean.
Yeah.
When Eric left, there was a big void. We filled it with Sheringham. We need an experience. We need a sort of leader in waiting, if you like. And I think Eriksen, he's proven Premiership. He's a proven class player. I hate the word world class, but he's a proven class player at all levels. And let's just trust the manager, please. Just trust them. That's my expectation for this season. I've got massive. I just want to enjoy watching United again without my missus saying to me, "Why do you keep doing it?" And I'm sorry to degrade her by calling the missus, but I'm that generation. But she's a lovely lady. But she says to me, "Why do you keep doing it?" it's because I love the club.
Yeah. No, Neil, you speak a lot of sense, mate, and I think I speak for everybody on the panel when I say you've been missed speaking a lot of sense on this show. So no, I appreciate it a lot, mate. Yeah, I completely agree with you 100%. And like you say, it's about getting some sense of pride back, isn't it? And I think he has brought that. I think we spoke about it on a previous show. He seems to have been doing that as a bare minimum, really, which to a lot of us is not a bare minimum. It's the actual most high priority, number one thing that every United player needs to feel when they put on a red shirt. So, no, I totally agree with you, Neil, 100%. And just hopefully we can back as manager and do some good next season. Mr. Tom, nice to see you, mate. Better late than never. But nice to see you, mate. Just talking about kind of what we feel is a good season for Man United next season. If we sat here at the end of the season, and I kind of throw it to you because I was going to throw it to Stu next, in terms of putting you on the spot a little bit, in terms of we talked about the things that we want to see a good United team. At the end of the season, we're saying, right, it was a good season last season, and all the things that we look at in a good United team. The guys have all kind of mentioned that, but in terms of results, where do you think, putting you on the block on the spot a little bit, where do you think is a good season for United? So in terms of positions, cup runs, challenging for certain for the Europa League, where do you feel like we need to be at to call it a good season next season, Mr. Tom?
I feel like if we're looking forward and then we're looking backwards, at that point I'll be like, a good cup run and probably top 4 finish, right? But if I'm being realistic, I know that's a low percentage of probability if the manager doesn't get what he needs to do that, to achieve that. So it all comes down to if the manager gets backed. So if he gets backed, I expect us to finish 3rd. I'll be honest with you. If he gets the players, exactly every single player he wants, for the way he wants to play, then I'm 3rd or 4th and a decent cup run. That's what I expect. If he doesn't now, if we're left with the 3 players that he's got so far, and then left with the bare bones of the squad that was left from last season now, 5th, if that makes sense. So it all comes down. That's what I've always said, and I've always been honest about this. Me personally, I will evaluate everything properly at the 1st of September, if that makes sense. That's just for me. But like I said, if he gets backed and gets the players that he needs to implement what he needs to implement, then I don't see a reason why we can't go on a decent cup run and finish, like I said, 4th or 5th. I mean, 4th or 3rd. I'll be honest, I don't see a reason why if he gets the players.
So just to kind of put you on the spot again a little bit with that, Mr. Tom, just in terms of, obviously it's hard to second guess kind of the players that he's after because, we all know the players that kind of maybe we want as fans, but in terms of positions, where do you think he needs to kind of get 1 or 2 players to kind of challenge for those spots then?
I would definitely say in the forward line, because if you're relying on just Martial, Rashford, Sancho to get you over the finish line of the season, no chance. 1 injury, 1 illness, and we're F. Let's be honest, And then midfield, he's brought in Eriksen. You get 2 injuries now to the midfield once again. Back to square one. You're left with McTominay and Fred. Do you know what I mean? You're always going to be left to square one again, especially of the amount of players we've lost. We're in a situation now. Defense, to me, we're overstacked there. It's midfield and forward where we definitely need strengthening. We needed midfield strengthening even last summer. Do you know what I mean? That area needs to get strengthened.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we wasted a lot of time, didn't we, on the Frankie De Jong saga for me, and I think that was always a bit of a worry, really. Do we need another forward? Obviously, we've kind of dragged the deals with the Anthony deal as well, and it looks like he might be going elsewhere to a big rival. So that's obviously another disappointing one. But has he got some other options up his sleeve, or is he happy with the kind of projection in terms of where he wants to be next season? We're all saying, a good season for this team is potentially top 4 in a cup, but what are we basing that on? We can't be basing that on the last 2 or 3 years. So I think we've got to be realistic. Like Neil said, we've got to back the manager regardless of this season. He's got his first kind of trial period, as frustrating as that is for fans, that's going to be this season. He's going to have that under his belt this season. So we've got to kind of take the ride, and I'm sure 2 or 3 more windows will be where we need to be, but we can't expect it off a single window, especially when everyone else out there knows how desperate we are. So no, I totally agree. Stu, I'll come to you, mate. Just in terms of like kind of predictions and results, obviously you spoke about us getting into some sort of consistency with games, but what about in terms of actual results for you to get to the end of this season and say, right, it's been a good season for Man United. We got top 4, or we got Europa League, or we won, or we went to the final. What is it for you that's going to really give your season a sort of a tick in the box, if you like?
Well, you win a trophy of some description, whatever that may be, whether it's the Carabao Cup, the Europa League, the FA Cup. We're not going to win the Premier League. We know that. We're just a bit too far off. I think our best chance is the Carabao Cup, but I'd like to think we could win the Europa League. But it really will come down to consistency of form. It really will. Not necessarily who he brings in between now and the end of August or 1st of September, whichever way you want to call it. It's about the players that he's got. With regards to players that may come in, it's then all about integration. Now I know a lot of fans are thinking the players that he wants to bring in, they already know the system. They won't need integrated. They'll need integrating into English football. That's just the way it is. I'm not saying they need integrating into the way that Ten Hag wants to play. They'll need integrating into English football. And that takes time. And we've seen some brilliant footballers come across and some great players come across that really struggled in the Premier League because it's alien to them. The pace is alien. The physicality is alien. The number of games is alien to them. The quick turnaround between a match every 2 or 3 days is alien to these players. So it will take time for whoever he brings in. For me, we do need to strengthen the forward area. I know we've been linked heavily with this Sesko kid from Salzburg. Whether or not we're closing in on a deal, it depends who you read. I didn't know Anthony. Where's Anthony going? Because I didn't know he was. I haven't read that.
No, well, I don't know if it's factual yet, but I've heard Liverpool are sniffing to put a bid in for Anthony. So,
where would he fit in there, though?
Well, maybe obviously how long Salah got left on his contract. Did he just sign a new deal?
He signed a new deal. Yeah, he signed a new deal. Yeah, I don't know where he'd fit in, but anyway, for me, yeah, for me, if we can get a trophy of some description, even the FA Cup would be brilliant. If we can, I mean, this is more mine and Neil's age, to be honest. If we could win the FA Cup, it'd be an absolute dream again, because the importance has slowly, unfortunately, come out of the FA Cup, and it's just gone into Europe, and it's just gone into into winning the Premier League. So, a trophy of some description would be a brilliant surprise for me. But I go back to what I was saying before. We put a consecutive win of results together, 10 or 11 games. That's going to carry us somewhere. So that's what you've got to look at first and foremost.
Yeah, it's good. Like I say, I think that cup run would kind of put a smile on his faces, wouldn't it? Really, because I think last season it was pretty poor in terms of our cup runs, and it'd be nice to kind of just, I don't know, he's got a little bit of fight, like you say in the FA Cup. It's something that I think over recent history we've not been particularly fantastic at, but other than some maybe like, was it Van Gaal who won it that year? So I think other than that, it's something I think the FA Cup for me is such an historic competition, and it'd just be nice to see us take it a little seriously, I think, next year. And we've got the squad to do it, haven't we? So
yeah.
Emma, what's your thoughts, Mary? And do you think Europa League's in a big cup for us to really compete for? I mean, obviously, a couple of years ago, we were going for the, we nearly won it, didn't we? So, and we won it a few seasons before that. So, you think we should be going for it next season?
Well, first of all, is my sound any better, or is it still in and out like before?
Yeah, it sounds fine. Yeah.
Okay, all right,
you've
cool.
still got an American accent, Hammer. You've still got an American accent.
That I can't help Honestly, if I could change it, I was born in Trinidad. I
Hammer,
wish I had that accent.
No, but the New York Yankees thing, you can definitely you can do something about that, though.
Hey, I've been a Yankees fan since I started loving baseball, and they play less than an hour away from me. And you can't get me down because right now we're top of the league in this season. So
Are you winning this year? Are you?
Oh
yeah, but they have just been they've just been swept by the Mets, though.
Yeah, and you know what? Even when we lose, we win because that same night we traded for a star outfielder, so they could.
I hate to pull hosting card here, guys, but
all right, hey, Reece, just because you got a bad knee, we'd all have had a bit of banter, my friend. I'll send you some painkillers in the post. You won't be hosting for a couple of weeks after then.
I'll send you some herbs. How about that? Sorry.
Yeah, you won't get them in the post.
No, yeah, I think one of the things that, and we've been talking about too, is if we're going to get some more signings, and I think that's important, especially if we're talking about any type of cup runs, just in terms of depth and things like that. Because I think it was Mr. Ton said too, right? If we get any 1 or 2 injuries in certain places, we're back to square one from last season. So I think a little more depth is needed in the signings. But yeah, if that happens, I do think the Europa League is something we definitely have to go for, especially if everybody else is a little more nervous about us keep it in the top 4. Shit, if we want Champions League again, that's going to be our ticket to the Champions League. And I also think, Stu said it generational wise, FA Cup maybe is more him and Stu's and Neil's generation. I know Reece said, the historic part of it. But I think me being a younger generation and probably also being from the States, the FA Cup is kind of, it's all right. It's not as big as I think it probably was back in the day. But again, if we're talking trophies, yeah, I wouldn't mind it. But yeah, for me, the Europa League would give us what we need, and I think it would also give this group a little more of a boost. Some of these younger guys have been in these years playing, yes, at United, but at a United that's been struggling. So if we can get a trophy like that to start, I think it'll be a really good thing for the young players.
Definitely. I think when you look at Liverpool and City, they don't seem to be two clubs who belittle those competitions very much, do they? If you look at the League Cup, for example, Pep takes it very, very seriously. So, it can't be beneath Man United considering recent form. So, yeah, definitely. I think we've got to take it seriously and go for it this year, especially with the size of the squads that we'll have and some of the talent that we've obviously got. Neil, what's your thoughts, mate, in terms of results? What are you seeing from a good United performance for next season? At the end of it, what do you want to look back on and say that was a good season?
Let me unmute myself. I know the world likes to see me on mute. I understand that because I'm a gobby son of a bastard. Now I know Stuart's going to agree with me on this, and we've not spoken about this beforehand. But if
I'm waiting for you to disagree with Stuart at one point, Neil. I'm waiting for a disagreement between you.
Oh, don't worry. Go back a year, 18 months. We were going to rip each other's lungs out.
Yeah.
Both of us are one of us is ugly enough, and that's me, Stuart, by the way. And we got over it. We had a conversation on the phone. I wished him Merry Christmas. He wished me Merry Christmas. Done. Okay?
I do remember that.
And it was June.
How can you not forget it? Blimey. I think both of us were barred from the rest of the world.
We were.
So, but to the extent that probably if you held a gun to our heads, we're not 100% certain exactly what it was about. We still got a vague recollection. But anyway, the point is we are where we are. And we're at the point where, but I think if our expectation as a club, and remembering how big this club is that we support, if our expectation is a good season's wins the, just bear me out on this, by the way. If our expectation is the Europa League, and that constitutes a good season, that just shows how far we've fallen. If the Europa League is our expectation level, because we were a club not that long ago that went into a season, and the bookies would have us in the top 10 to win the European Cup, the Champions League, whatever you want to call it. Bloody hell, David Moyes got us to the, am I right, quarterfinals, Stuart? When Evra scored that screamer. So David Moyes got us to the quarterfinals. That's as well as we've done. We went 1-0 up away to Bayern. Evra scored a screamer. But if our expectation is just to win the Europa League. I've got to be honest, and I think Stuart might agree with this. I'm a bit of a romantic about this club, and I'd love us to win the FA Cup above anything else. Because Stuart and I, that's all we remember for the years of Liverpool dominating was, well, we could win the FA Cup this year. But like I said before, I just want to see some pride, some passion. And that, to me, would constitute a big step forward from the shit show we've had 4, 5, 6 years. Well, since Ferguson's left.
Well, Stu, I mean, Neil, I just want to say real quick, before Mr. Tone go, I have, been a fan of a lot of teams overall in sports that struggle. We have, I understand what Manchester United is, but like you said, the last 5, 6 years, I think, unfortunately, if fans want to be aware to the realistic, goddamn, I don't even know what the type of word I'm trying to say, but you know what I mean. Like, we have fallen. Yeah, like that's what the real thing is. We have fallen.
The problem is we've got such a, and I hate saying this about our club, we've got such a huge, too big a portion of our fan base is toxic. Yeah. And I just hope, imagine what it'd be like if Ten Hag loses 5 of his first 10 games. People will be wanting to, they'll want to strap him to the railway tracks. He'd be dead to it. Just, this guy seems to be the man. Whatever the question is, the answer is Ten Hag. So it goes back to the previous point you made. My expectations are not to put massive expectations on Ten Hag. Just let the guy do his job. If he wants the players, and it's going to take, I reckon it's going to take 4 or 5 minimum transfer windows for him to get anywhere near the squad he wants. Yeah. At the moment, the signings he's made look quality. I think Malacia is a great squad player. I think Martinez, wherever he plays, if he plays in holding midfielder, which, let's be honest, the more I think about it, the more he's got a chance. Because the last good 5'9" centre back I can think of was Cannavaro. Well, now, that's a big pair of shoes to fill. That's a big pair of shoes to fill. I think it was the last. You're right, Stuart. Was he the last defender to win the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, back in crikey.
So was the Italian captain that year?
Was it 98?
World Cup year?
Was he the only defender to win it?
I think he was.
At that time, it was always strikers, but Cannavaro was. You sure it wasn't 2006?
It was World Cup.
Anyway,
year. It was the year they won the World Cup.
I know we haven't got long tonight. Point is, just everybody needs to just test the brakes a bit. And if this guy, we've come off the back of our worst season in Premiership history. And I'm a fine one to talk.
2006.
See, John, I said 2006, and that was freaky because I'm 3 glasses of wine in. But just trust the process. And I hate the cliches. Just trust the manager, because he's not proven it in this league. So give him a chance to find his feet, along with the signings he's made. Our fan base wants results yesterday. Me and Stuart understand that. Yeah. But we've had years where Stuart and I remember us coming 3rd in a 2-horse race when Atkinson was in charge. We won the first 10 games. Well, I think we were 10 points clear at Christmas and become 3rd in a 2-horse race when it was 2 points for a win. So just, let's just let it play out. But for God's sake, trust the manager.
I think so.
Sorry, I'm repeating myself. I know you want to jig it along, but I miss you all.
Absolutely.
Should have had a breathalyzer before you come on, Neil. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to get you breathalyzed next time you come on, mate. But
how dare you? I know exactly what I've said. That's why I've stopped at 2.
Funny kid.
I've got a cup of tea here now. How dare you, Reese?
Take it. If you give it out, you got to take it as well, mate. You got to.
Hey, mate, Reese, I've given out so much. I know you don't mean it. So I've done a few spaces this week where it's all gone a bit Pete Tong, and my friends, Mr. Ton will back me up on that, because I think he was on one of them with me. Anyway, love you all.
Over to Mr. No, thank you, Neil. Over to Mr. Ton anyway, mate. Go on. What's your? Where do we need to be for a good season for Man United? I mean, you kind of already mentioned it, really. I suppose we'll kind of move on to the next sort of side of it, which was what's the bare minimum in terms of us turning around and saying, right, okay, that was a bad season, but what's bad in our book? What's kind of like going to make it bad? Is it kind of not getting top four? Is it all the things we've talked about, not a cup run, or is it even worse than that?
I think for fans, and I feel like the majority of fans that I interact with for the last, God knows how long, from when Jose was even there, one of the things that a lot of the fans stress is we didn't have a way of playing style. Even Rio Ferdinand said it at the back of, Oli was there, Una, he's been in charge, playing style. So I'm pretty sure, regardless of, if let's say we finish top 6, top 4, whatever, if the fans see something that's exciting or something they like, or they can see, like I've said it before, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, right? So stage 1, foundations, implementing the style, culture, so much things there. So if the fans see all these, like the foundations of stage 1 implemented, I'm pretty sure that's something for us fans to get behind, even if it's not a successful season, should we say, if that makes sense. But if we can see the foundations, like for example, we can see what he's trying to do, and we can see with our own eyes that if he gets 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, we can see it go to the next level, then it's something for us to look forward to, if that makes sense. That's how I look at it. If it is a doom and gloom season, then but there's something there to be optimistic about.
Yeah, definitely. We all heard you, but you're getting a bit of a crackle on your end, Mr. Ton. Just don't know if it's just a connection issues or maybe battery going or something like that. But yeah, just a bit of a crackle there, bud. But no, definitely. I mean, for me, I kind of mention on to where I think will be a fairly disappointing for next season, and it's a slightly out the kind of box one. It's not cups. Obviously, they're kind of obvious things, and getting top 4. Obviously, we want to all do that. For me, it's like not seeing somebody from the youth team being promoted. I think we've got some great talent coming through, and I really, really want to see one of them get into a position where, okay, they're not making it into the first team, but they're at least around the first team squad. They're getting games, they're getting regular cup games, they maybe feature in a European game, come off the bench, have 10, 15 minutes, get a couple of games midweek in a Premier League, and just gradually work his way and get these players into the team. We saw Hannibal sort of having a few minutes towards the back end of the season last season. We saw Langer sort of coming in, but maybe coming in because of the awkward Greenwood situation, really, and was forced into that position. But I kind of really want to see somebody coming through naturally, forcing the kind of, at Ten Hag's kind of mindset on this team and really kind of staking their claim and sort of being promoted into that first team. We've got plenty of young...
Can I mention one name? Because I saw the reports the other day. A while back on the space, I said I wouldn't be surprised, personally, that if Ten Hag likes Hansen and Kobe, right? Because Ten Hag has a preference to... Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, it's a bit crackly. You can hear you fine, it's just a bit crackly, the audio is a bit crackly.
Ten Hag has a preference to technical players first, if that makes sense. So Hansen, when I've seen him, yes, it's not been, every time I watch him, but I can see like a Modric type player in him, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I see him, or maybe even a Kobe, squeezing through eventually through the season. I'll be honest with you. But I have a feeling Hansen is someone that definitely Ten Hag will take an eye to. That's just I thought that for a while.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's definitely plenty of options out there. I mean, obviously, Garnacho is still very, very young. Fernandez still very, very young. There's still loads of players. Iqbal's showing a bit of promise, hasn't he, coming through, but still very, very young and still quite erratic, especially for a Ten Hag style and system of play. Mr. Tom, just maybe test your audio, mate. We'll come back to you. Just a little crackly on that, mate. But yeah, appreciate that one. Neil, did you have your hand up there? Did you want to mention something on that?
Player, I think, could break through, and I don't know whether I'm being biased because he's left-footed. I think Savage has got. He's suddenly gone from. He reminds me of a player. For what I've seen, and let's be honest, I don't go to every game. I've seen a bit. I haven't seen enough, but he does remind me of one of my favourite ever central midfield players who wore number 5. She will know this is. I'm not going to say any more than that. But there's just something about Savage. If he fills that frame that he's got, I think he could become he's got the skill sets, and we know from his old man, he'll better handle all the mental side of the game. If he fills that frame out, I think Savage could save us 80 million in the transfer window. I mean, I really, really do rate him. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful talent, and one that should stay around the first team squad. I wouldn't like to see him being loaned. I think he doesn't need the experience of a loan because he's got his old man who'll help him out with that sort of stuff. And I genuinely believe he could be one of the ones out of this crop that we've got, and we've got a good crop.
Very good. I mean, I've not seen enough of him. I've heard a lot of people say a little bit in the European, but
he's good.
Yeah,
he looks the
remind me a bit like Lee Sharp, if I'm honest. A bit of a Lee Sharp.
Oh God!
But
no. Stuart knows the player. I'm not going to say it, but Stuart
I like Lee
knows
Sharp. I thought Lee Sharp was quite class.
Well, yeah, but don't forget Lee Sharp was a wider player. Savage has got the ability to tick the ball over beautiful. He's very competitive, whichever way you want to say it. But he's got a brilliant left foot. But what he does is tick the ball over. He's very much in the mould of a variety. When he gets the ball, he moves it. Doesn't do anything flash with it. And sometimes you need that in a game of football. It's we haven't had that for a long, long time. You know, people say McTominay does that, but he hides during games. Iqbal's a different type of player. I think those two actually have probably catapulted themselves above the likes of Medjbury.
Is Garner, just to throw one in there, is Garner not sort of doing that already, Stuart? A bit more proven than say Savage?
I look, Garner will need, for me, a loan in the Premier League. I've said it, Brighton's the place for him. I've said it a load of times. He's not quite there yet. He will be. People say, well, look what he did against Liverpool in the Cup or what he did in the Cup run for Forest. But they're singular games. They're one-off games. You've got to be able to prove it over 38 games. It'd be too much of an ask to bring Garner in now. I think Neil's kind of right, really. I wouldn't be surprised if Martinez doesn't line up in central midfield, start the season, and he plays for Ran and Maguire at the back. I wouldn't rule that out at all. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying I wouldn't rule it out.
I'm with my guy here on the Garner.
Go on, Emma. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I get what you're saying about a Premier League loan and also going to a proper place will do him some good. But I mean, I feel like he's been getting loaned out. Has he been loaned out a couple times already, or am I overthinking?
Yeah, Watford and Forest. But if he goes to Brighton, though, Potter's a great ball playing manager, and Garner's a good player. He's a great player, but I'd just be a little bit worried that if we relied on Garner this season, it wouldn't work for us.
No, but
if we're just going to talk about a player who's got a potential to be promoted, not necessarily in the first team, but sort of be a squad player, has Garner not state to claim more than anyone else that he's got the ability to do that with the experience he's gained over the last 12 months?
Would you want it though at his age? 21 years old when me and Neil were coming through. You really didn't stand a chance. You hadn't got open hell if you were 17. Norman Whiteside was one in a blue moon that played at 16, 17, and 18. You're 21 now. Your career's almost. You're in the first third of your career. So really, you should be kicking on and pushing on. You shouldn't be playing under 23 football at 21.
I agree. I think if it's down to ability and you're still playing at that level, if it's down to the sheer opportunity, because looking at the state of the game in terms of conditioning these days, players are playing a lot longer than, let's be honest, even when I was playing, 30, 31, 32 was kind of the age where you were looking at retiring, and now players are playing well into beyond 35, 36. So, is 21 the new 17, 18, with the kind of experience that these players are getting? I don't know. I'm just kind of being devil's advocate, I suppose. But yeah. No, but that, in terms of positives and us looking back at the season and thinking, right, that's been good in other than results, I'd love to look back and say we promoted a young kid to the first team squad, and they're getting regular minutes. Obviously, like we have done with sort of Rashford over the years, and unfortunately, Lingard didn't sort of obviously take the right steps. But it's kind of promoting those players and showing some willing with that, because I think that's what United are all about, really, aren't they? Essentially, as well as what Neil said earlier on about us having that pride and that passion when we're wearing the shirt. So we'll just kind of finish off on probably an outstanding season for United then. So in terms of being probably unrealistic, and I think as fans it's probably a little easier for us to do that. So in terms of what an outstanding season would mean for United then, in terms of just blow us all completely out of the water, but obviously still kind of remaining true with it being fairly realistic. We're not going to win the Premier League and Champions League. Obviously, we can't be not in the Champions League this season, but win the Europa League and then win the Premier League and stuff like that. But what, in terms of us having an outstanding season, would equate for you, Stu? What would you say is like above and beyond your expectations for United if they were to achieve it next season? Being fairly realistic with that, I suppose. It's a difficult question, isn't it?
Well, I guess winning 3 cups, we're not going to win the Premier League, so let's be realistic. But we could win 3 cups. There's nothing to stop us winning the Europa League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup. There's nothing stopping us winning that, apart from ourselves and the players if they can't be bothered. That's the only thing that can stop us winning them. That would be amazing. I think everybody on the panel would love that. That would be brilliant for us. But realistically, the FA Cup for me, I would be over the moon if we won the FA Cup. That would be great, and it'd be brilliant for Ten Hag to come in and win the oldest trophy in football, or the greatest trophy in football. Actually, if you get the Champions League, the FA Cup is the pinnacle of English football. It's not many people get to win the FA Cup. It's one of the days. I was watching Carl Walker today, and he's given a good luck message to the women, and he had the cheek to pull out his silver medal from the from the Euros. Turn this into gold. He's wearing it round his neck. He should have been embarrassed by that. Our players don't wear silver medals. We only wear gold. That's what I want to see. I want to see that type of spirit. I want to see bad winners. I want to see bad losers. I want to see aggression, skill, bit of dainty players now and again. But I want to see us take the fight more than anything to the opposition. Really go out there and like you're knocking a brick wall down. Do everything you can to win that game of football. And as Sir Alex Ferguson said, Neil, play how you play, but win. That's all he used to say. Win.
Yeah.
Very, very simple. Because that's what football's about.
Yeah, definitely. No, 100%. I think, I think if we do anything in the cups and manage to get top 4, I mean, personally for me, if we manage to get a cup next this season and get top 4, that would exceed expectations for me personally. I think to win a cup is a big achievement. No matter what competition it's in, it's still a massive achievement. I think with the squad that we've got and the team that we're had and the run that we've had recently, I think that would be an even bigger task, and especially in Ten Hag's first season. So I think getting top 4 and winning a cup is a little bit unrealistic and exceeding kind of the natural expectations. I think even when what Ten Hag's got for himself. So
just one thing, Reece. Sorry.
Yeah.
The reason I don't see top 4 as an achievement, because I hate top 4. The Champions League to me should always be the champion. When you start the season, if you don't finish top, you failed anyway. It's an irrelevance where you finish. I don't like top 4. I don't like this mythical top 4. It winds me up more than anything. You start the season, you win the fucking league. You don't win the league, you failed. Or we'll just scrape into Champions League football. Nah. So, sorry, it's just my opinion. I just don't like it, Reece.
No, that's no. I can get where you're coming from. I think it's been bought out. It's the Arsenal fans, isn't it? Let's be honest. And there's none in the chat.
They started it, Reece. You're absolutely right under Wenger.
I think the Premier League started with all the commercial side of it, didn't it? Really, because it's a golden carrot for most clubs if they get in the top 4, isn't it? And how much it increases their budget for next season. But Yeah, let's be honest. United need to be playing in the Champions League, and I think that would be a massive ask in terms of how much the other teams have strengthened as well. There's not much room in there, is there, at the minute? So yeah, we've got to not be looking at it as a massive target. I don't think for next season. Amma, what would kind of exceed your expectations next season? Do you agree? Would it be top four, or is it just are you expecting top four really anyway, or what's your thoughts?
No, yeah, I think John kind of when his comment earlier on was kind of how I was thinking about it. I don't know about winning all 3 trophies, but my thought process on when off of that question initially was the Europa League. I would want us to win just because of the guarantee as well. I want no matter what Champions League. And then John said top 3, so Europa League top 3, and then either winning or genuinely making a deep run and being in contention for one of the other cups, right? Carabao Cup, FA Cup, whichever one. Yeah, and again, back to my realistic was just winning, the Europa League, and if we get top 4 or whatever, that's fine. And also off of what Stu said, I can definitely agree with that point of view on it, in terms of the winning and all that. Second place is just the first loser. That's really all it is. And then it's, everybody else below that doesn't really matter. So I get it, I get what he's saying, but in terms of what we need out of it, yeah, top 3, Europa League, and maybe another trophy would be exceeding my expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Anna. Neil, what would kind of exceed your expectations for next season, mate?
4. Can't help but agree with. I love the way Stuart spoke about the FA Cup because I'm feeling exactly the same. I'd probably take the FA Cup above the Europa League. FA Cup and top 4 would be amazing because we need a cup run at a club like United just galvanises the fan base and the club. I know all the other clubs like to have a FA Cup run, but it just there's something very special about United getting to a semi-final of an FA Cup at Villa Park against whoever. If that happens, Stuart, we'll go. And the curry's on me. The curry's on me though. But we need to book a hotel, not because I want to sleep with you. I mean because we won't be going home the same night.
No, we're getting fucking some of that, pal. Too right, we'll go.
No, I don't want anything.
Those days have gone.
I'll just pay for the curry.
Those days have gone now, Neil.
There's not enough whiskey in Birmingham for that. But the point is, I just want to see, as I said earlier, I just want to see some passion, some enjoyment. I want to see the players with smiles on their faces. But my top end of my expectations would be FA Cup and top 4. All I expect from this season is what I said earlier, which is pride, passion, all that sort of stuff that we might be selfish, but that's what I think our club deserves. And by the way, John, you're always on my mind. He'll know what he means. He'll know what I mean.
There's a song in there somewhere.
I was going to say, were you singing? Hey,
yeah, I'll tell you what, someone should write a song with that in the title. And then the Pet Shop Boys should cover it.
Pet Shop Boys. Now we're showing age, Neil. Now we're showing age.
No, cheers for that, Neil. And just Mr. Tom, what's kind of would exceed your expectations for next season, mate?
FA Cup or League Cup, and then finishing 2nd or 3rd. Europa League probably semi-final or final. If all those criteria get met, then I'm like, wow. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure the whole of the country and Europe will take notice and be like, wow, in one season. Wow.
I know.
So let's see what happens, innit? You never know.
Well, scarily, we'll be back competing again. That's kind of that's the aim, isn't it? I suppose. I think none of us are expecting big, massive things for the team next season. We just want to be there competing and challenging and not rolling over like we did in some games, in the big games, in the big moments when we had chances and stuff like that. It's just competing and showing that the players care. And I'm sure with Ten Hag, that's definitely going to happen because he's not going to let us slip. So definitely encouraging for next season. Well, guys, we're going to end it there. It's been nearly an hour. We said 45 minutes. It's just been over 45 minutes. Yeah, I mean, he's like, oh, please give it in. So I'm gonna rest up in a bit. So no, I appreciate everybody that's been on the show. Stu, Emma, Neil, and Mr. Tom. Thank you for helping me out. And thanks to everybody that's been watching. A few people that's been on commenting and debating between each other. So that's been nice to see. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter. Like and share and subscribe. And catch us in the next one. I think we've got a big show.
We need 10 subscribers for 6,000, I think. That's all we need.
And then Ben's giving out 5k to the 6. No, I'm just picking it up. No, he's not giving out any money. No, for all the plugging that we've done for the show.
I don't get out of bed for less than 5k.
Exactly.
But no, we've got a big show on Sunday. I'm sure I've heard there's a special one on Sunday with some other people from other shows that are going to be on it. So should be quite an interesting one for people to catch on. I think Stu, you might be a guest on that show, I believe.
Yeah, I'm there. I don't know too much about it either, so I can't drop any names because I don't know.
No, neither do I, so I can't give it away either. So that's good. But I know it's a good show. So catch us on Sunday. I think that's around 9 o'clock on Sunday. So catch the guys on that one. And thanks to everybody again. Like I said, that's been on the panel. And we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Cheers.
Take care.